Before I go forward, I would like to take what the opposition feels about the budget. So Rahul Gandhi has always been very critical of the economy and what you've been doing. When Donald Trump talked about India as a dead economy, he chimed in immediately. In this budget, he says that the finance minister is blind to the realities facing the government. How do you react to this?
He's the leader of the opposition in Lok Sabha. I want to take him seriously. And I want to take his observation seriously to see if things can be done better. But most often I think he shoots from his hip. He doesn't keep good foundational data and then make his observation. I think on the dead economy comment, I'm not referring to anybody else, but being in India, being in the parliament, being the leader of the opposition, hearing all the questions being asked during question hours, replies being given, written, standing up, ministers say, that one comment in his haste, voicing the comment made by somebody else from outside. You are a member of the parliament, you are a leader of the opposition. Are you saying you're living in a dead economy? That itself sort of pulls the carpet from under his feet. You need an opposition leader who speaks with data and with such heft that the government will have to answer you. Now, when you speak sometimes without any kind of basis, I want to respond to him, but what do I respond on?
Yeah.
You're speaking out of thin air. India deserves a better opposition party. I'm not commenting on individuals. The party should do a lot of homework to make its leaders speak responsibly in the House.
The one thing that you did this time, which has become a subject of conversation, the markets also reacted, was increasing STT in the derivative segment. And I've heard the comments by your secretaries who say that it was to curb rampant speculation. Could it have been done differently, by managing margins or contract sizes? And was it a prudent thing to do at a time when the global sentiment is the way it is and the markets are also on a weak footing? How do you react to this?
There are many observations that you're making on which opinions can differ.
Yes.
There are people who within India comment saying India's markets are overpriced. I'm not even getting into that debate.
Sure.
The Revenue Secretary made it absolutely clear. It is not for revenue considerations that we've done this.
Yes.
It is not on all STTs.
Yes.
We are only touching on futures and options.
Yes.
Cash is not even touched.
No.
So it is the speculative tendencies. And in fact, the Ministry of Finance has received several parents, elders who call us and say, are you going to sit and watch people lose money? And one of the studies showed that 90% of people who've gone into futures and options have lost money.
Yes.
Of course, the market regulator will also do his or her bit. The institution will do its bit. So we've only tried bringing in a deterrent where speculation is rife. We are not touching the market. Other STTs are not being touched.
No, thank you for that clarification. Let me ask you a slightly directional question. Whether it is long-term capital gains or short-term capital gains, in the last few years they have only inched up, when most of the other taxes have really gone down. So how do you, I'm asking you from a broader perspective, as the finance minister, how do you see this pan out over the years?
I don't agree with you when you say it's inched up. Yes, it has gone up or it is rationalized so that all asset classes can be treated equally.
Right.
And that's the logic and reasoning behind that particular rate change.
Right.
It wasn't done with an intent of earning out of it. But the disparity and the differential couldn't be sustained. So we had to rationalize it. And in fact, after that we even gave that option to say you choose which one you want to have.
Right.
I remember standing up during the government amendments time, the finance bill passing time. We brought in that flexibility to the people who felt that they were, shortchanged. So that was rationalization. That wasn't for kicking up the rates.
So you think that the current rates are comfortable and
The stable approach towards tax incidence or keeping tax incidence stable
yes.
has always guided us.
The other overhang for the markets has been this, U.S. tariffs. Let me ask you a direct question. I feel that, there is a sense of things thawing between the two countries. Are we close to a deal?
That's not so much for me to speculate on. Let us see.
But you do think that things are improving from both the sides?
No, the FTAs are being signed. European Union, UK, Australia, New Zealand. So work is going on in getting FTAs done.
Okay. So Donald Trump has said, I think yesterday or day before, that India is ready to buy Venezuelan oil and not Iranian crude. He says that, broadly there is an agreement on the concept of a deal. Would you confirm that?
I would have no idea.
Okay.
Not even in my domain.
Let me move to something else, which is that RBI has reduced benchmark repo rates by about 125 basis points since 2025. But the 10-year bond yields has increased, which means high borrowing costs. How do we tackle this? How do we reduce the cost of borrowing?
I think we are very conscious that yields are going up. Again, without shifting the blame or the responsibility, it is dependent on so many different factors. Yes, crowding in is one of the things on which the market gets heated up and yields can go up. But it's a fact that given the levels of developmental activities which all of us want to ramp up, both central government and state governments, going to the market is one way of raising your fund. But the yields going up also pushes back, and therefore people who want to look at better timing go back without raising the funds. So there is this concern, and that itself could be a deterrent for many states because they cannot afford it.
Yes.
So it's a very evolving situation. We'll have to see how it goes.
Okay. Finance Minister, your party has always stood for a strong rupee. But if you look at the Indian rupee in the last 1 year, it's been on a losing streak. It's almost lost 10% against the dollar, around 16% against the euro. Are you comfortable with this level of the rupee, and are you happy with the steps that the RBI is taking to maintain it?
Let's understand one thing. Our party, yes, was in favor of and is in favor of always a strong rupee, no doubt. But it's also got to be predicated in the context of how the economy is. Economy suffering from high inflation, economy being fragile, and your rupee value also not in a good position, makes it really hard and difficult for everybody. But one thing I can clearly say is economy is fine and fit.
Yes.
Your macroeconomic fundamentals are strong. And that's not to say, look, therefore are you being indifferent to rupee-dollar exchange rate? I'm not indifferent. But I'll also look at it from the realistic challenges that we have to understand where rupee is finding itself now. Reserve Bank is closely monitoring.
So you are saying that you are comfortable with this situation at the moment?
I'm leaving
given
it there. I don't think I will say I'm comfortable, not comfortable. I'll leave it there.
Okay. India's holding of US Treasury bonds have declined about 25% compared to the peak of 2023. At the same time, Reserve Bank of India has increased its holdings on gold. Do you see this trend continuing?
I think many central banks, not just Reserve Bank of India, are pitching to buy more gold, and India seems to be following the trend.
Okay. Gold is up by about 80%, silver by 250%. How do you see this in the last 1 year, this phenomenon?
The uncertainties in the world are making people to fall back on, let's say, time-proven asset, which is gold. And that's bound to be, because it is beyond anyone's fair assessment to see where things will move, and therefore the demand for gold.
Okay. That brings me to the next point, which was also discussed a lot this budget. Capital gains on sovereign gold bonds purchased in the secondary market. Market participants feel this is some kind of a retrospective tax. Do you agree with that? What was the logic behind
No.
this?
The intent of the sovereign gold bond was, at the time of the issuance, and also making sure that you hold it the full term.
Yes.
So those are the two boxes to be checked. If you are doing one and not the other, you picked it up not at the time of issuance but from the secondary markets, one of the boxes not getting ticked, and therefore you're taxed. You bought it during issuance, but you're not holding it full term.
Right.
One box is not checked, so you're being taxed. It's only when you have taken it at issuance and you're holding it full term,
Yes.
you get that concession. So every other, which there are only 4 situations, right? So the other 3 situations where both the boxes are not getting checked
is where you understand. You set up a committee to review the banking sector. What will be the remit of this committee? What are the timelines that you are looking at? Could you give us some details?
I've not worked on the TOR yet,
Okay.
but the broad intent was that towards Viksit Bharat, there couldn't be better time for us, especially now when the bank's health is very good. We would want from that strength to understand where we can go and how do we go, which is the path that we take to go there. So that is where we want that committee to work.